Top 12 Best Must-Watch BL Series of 2024. Thailand. My Standin. Jo Poom Phurapan Sap Sang Sawat, a stand-in for actor Tong Mek Jirakit the Wernwang, is wholeheartedly in love with actor Ming Up Poompatiam Samang until he finds out that he's only ever been a second choice for Ming. Throwing his good judgment out the door, Jo accepts a dangerous stunt job and dies in the process. Years later, he wakes up in the body of someone else. Soon, he meets Ming again, who is still grappling with the loss of Jo. Despite their turbulent past, their unavoidable connection brings them together again. Why it's worth the watch. My Stand-In dives into unhealthy relationships and toxic partner treatment. It has very interesting, flawed characters who aren't picture perfect or idolized. Trying to understand the characters and accept their flaws and potential for growth is why it's really worth the watch. Lots of BL fans are happy to see more of these complex, adult themes entering the BL genre. This is far from the high school or college BL that Thailand is known for.
เป็นไงครับพอกินได้ไหมของที่มาตลอดอ่ะนี่กลับมาหาผมเถอะขอร้องอ่ะ
The Century of Love. Sandao Pattaya Sichua is as devoted and loyal as they come when his love tragically dies. He agrees to a magical curse that will let him live for the next 100 years in order for a chance to find his reincarnated lover. The trade-off is that he must endure extreme pain each night, and if he doesn't find his love in her next life, he'll die. With almost a century having already passed, his reincarnated love finally falls right into his arms. V off-road Kantapunjan Didawifal. V is shockingly different from the love he knew, besides also being a man. San most definitely did not read the fine print when making this deal. Why it's worth the watch. This one gains major brownie points on originality for its supernatural storyline. The storyline is definitely Guardian-coded if you're familiar with that 2018 C-drama. The unexpected moments due to the gender flip, and V having a totally different personality than what San had wished for add to the fun. The subliminal message that you love a person for who they are on the inside rather than exterior qualities or labels is also top-tier wisdom.
ให้สูงส่งขอโทษด้วยนะพี่ที่ผมมันโง่มาแต่เองอะทิศของศิลาถ้าเกิดไหนนี่คำนวณผิดพลาดใช่ไหมคะไม่ผิดพลาดแน่นอนนะคุณสาร
The Trainee. Off and Gun, one of Thailand's favorite OTPs in BL land, brought another memorable performance this year in The Trainee, a drama about a group of interns joining a production company with different dreams, skills, and expectations. Ryan Gunathathan Funsawat is a timid yet hardworking student who isn't sure about his future. His supervisor is a skilled, no-nonsense assistant director named Jane off Jumpal Adulkitaporn. At first, Jane feels like a standoffish supervisor rather than the caring mentor Ryan had hoped for. While Jane doesn't ever seem to make mistakes, Ryan becomes a magnet for unfortunate events in the office. But things change when Ryan starts to get to know the real Jane, who is extremely dedicated to his work, is talented, and caring. Why it's worth the watch. While this one is focused on the relationship between Ryan and Jane, there's a whole lot more to love. Along with an inside look at film production, there are various types of relationships shown, including a straight couple and even a sprinkle of GL. This one wins on equal representation, and though there isn't any grand climax or heavy plot, it's a fun watch with major rewatch value. You also can't help but love Ryan's timid, sometimes melodramatic, character. He's relatable in so many ways, especially as a helpless intern just trying to get through the workday without any hiccups.
ถ้าตั้งใจจะมาฝึกขำๆอะอยู่แค่ครบวันนี้ก็เก่งแล้วแหละถ่ายไม่ได้ยินเหรอดับเครื่องได้ไหมครับครับคุณปล่อยเอ็กต้ากลับบ้านเหรอนั่งรถไปที่ถึงบ้านอย่ามาให้เสียความรู้สึกไปวันๆแบบนี้เลยมึงเป็นเด็กฝึกงานนะ
Korea. Love in the Big City. Starting off strong, Love in the Big City easily ranks as one of the best Korean BLs to come out this year. Go Young Nam Yoon Soo is a man living in the bright, go city of Seoul in search of one thing, a passionate love. On a seemingly endless odyssey in search of romance as a gay man in Korea, his idea of self and love change while experiencing different kinds of relationships. Why it's worth the watch. This one will really surprise Korean BL watchers because it's really different in every way. But don't let that scare you off, because the ways it's different are why it's totally worth the watch. Love in the Big City gives one of the most realistic and unapologetic depictions of the LGBTQ+ community in Korea that other mainstream K-BL before it just haven't done yet. The thoughtful cinematography and unfiltered portrayal of the genre can really only be compared to what was probably 2003's best Korean BL, The Eighth Sense.
안경 쓰니까 완전 다른 사람이네요.
Love for Love's Sake. Tame Young Hali Tae-vin, a 29-year-old who has lost faith in happy endings, wakes up after a few too many drinks to find himself in a virtual survival game of love. Now back in high school as a 19-year-old, he has 300 days to make the game's main character, Cha Hyo-woon Cha Ju-won, happy. It sounds easy peasy, except with no friends and a recent loss. Making the cold Hyo-woon happy doesn't come easy at all. Why it's worth the watch. This definitely has a similar vibe to our dating sim and semantic error, except this time around, the game involved actually becomes a reality, with Myung-ha having to complete tasks and follow the game's instructions to get out. It's a mystery as to what is real and what is some sort of virtual simulation, including the lead's developing relationship. Along with the fun game concept, this one is a more light-hearted watch with lots of feel-good vibes. The fact that the show makes it verbally clear, on several occasions, that being gay is not wrong or abnormal, must also be commended. Way to go!
그리고 또
Boys Be Brave. Boys Be Brave is about two college friends with opposite personalities, Young Ki Sub Nam Si An and Kim Jin Woo Kim Sung Hyun, who suddenly start living together. Actually, Ki Sub invites himself in as Jin Woo's roommate, that is. This is no good for Jin Woo, who has always had a reluctant crush on Ki Sub. Chaotic silliness ensues when Ki Sub, who is goofy and clueless most of the time, proclaims he not only knows about Jin Woo's crush, but he will also get Jin Woo to confess and ask him out. Why it's worth the watch. This one is a funny story that hides deeper undertones of love and self-love under its lighthearted exterior. Beyond the fun characters and laughable moments, there's an interesting backstory that's worth uncovering. Ki Sub's character, in particular, is so extremely lovable and hilarious, even with his faults. It's all about finding the courage to, you guessed it, be brave and confess your feelings.
네 옆에서 영희 형 없어지면 좋겠어? 나 실패. 이제 그만할게.
Taiwan. Unknown. Wei Keon Chris Chu took Hao Yuan Kurt Huang in when he was abandoned as a kid on the streets. Now an adult, Yuan has developed feelings beyond brotherly love for Keon, and his feelings only grow more passionate as he spends time with him. When Yuan finally reveals his true feelings, Keon is unable to accept that they could have romantic feelings for each other. Yuan therefore leaves abroad, and during their separation, Keon realizes he can't live happily without Yuan. When Yuan returns, all bets are off. Why it's worth the watch. You can run away from a lot of things, but you can't run away from your true feelings. The angst and tension that builds up between Yuan and Keon is wild. When Keon finally realizes how Yuan sees him, it's so satisfying to see the roles reverse, and Keon starts to get nervous and flustered around Yuan. The wait for these two is long, but it's so worth it.
全世界，我，他竟然在乎我，不是。
The Only One. Classmates Sheng Wang Liu Dongkin and Zhangtian Benjamin Sang are forced to live together as brothers when their parents remarry. At first, they can't stand each other, but they bond over mutual feelings of loss, loneliness, and being young. Before they realize it, their bond starts to grow into something more. The On 1Y1 follows the life of Wang and Tian as they try to navigate school, family, and their confusing new feelings for each other. Why it's worth the watch. This one is a cozy, comforting show with lots of beautiful Taiwanese scenery. It really feels like the visual representation of a poem sometimes. The love between the two leads is a slow burn that's enjoyable to watch. It overall gives off a vibe that just feels so nostalgic and warm. If you liked storylines like Addicted and Stay With Me, this one is very similar.
别让他烦你。那你不要跟着我啊！
Japan. Love is a poison. Shiba Ryo Mahama Shogo is a stoic lawyer with eyes on becoming a successful name in the legal field, no matter the cost. He believes that romance is a poison that will only get in the way of his goals. After an unplanned encounter at a bar, he unwillingly becomes entangled with a cute, persistent scammer named Haruto Hayato Katsumi. After a series of events, Haruto moves in with Ryoma and becomes his legal aid. Going against everything he believes in, Ryoma starts catching feelings for Haruto but tries his best to ignore them. This goes about as well as you'd expect. Why it's worth the watch. Love is a Poison is such a page-turner. For one, the leads have crazy chemistry that you can feel through the screen. Secondly, you can never really tell what is going to happen next. It has such a funny, out-of-pocket character to it that makes it strangely addicting to watch. If you like the unique quirk that JBLs tend to have, you'll definitely enjoy this one. Bonus points for Ryoma being so awkward and weird in the best way.
わかる？なら爆撃の部屋に住んでなきゃ。季節感たっぷりのインテリアの。
Love is better the second time around. Miyata Akihiro, Hasegawa Makoto, and Hoshizawa Takashi Furuya Robin were in love as teens, but an unfulfilled promise breaks them apart without any real closure. Now adults, Miyata runs into Hoshizawa during work. Unsurprisingly so, old feelings awaken between the two. Despite Akihiro proclaiming he has moved on and is going to propose to his girlfriend soon, Takashi is determined to win him back and continue from where they left off. Why it's worth the watch. As the name suggests, this one is all about a second chance at love that didn't work out the first time around. For two people who are meant to be together, a second chance at love is really all you can wish for. It's also way too much fun to watch Akihiro try to keep his distance and not make the same mistake again while Takashi persistently tries to get Akihiro to give in. Takashi's jealous assistant, Shiraishi Yudo Takamatsu Aloha, also has to be given a shout-out. Yudo has an unrequited crush on Takashi and is iconic for not being afraid to voice his feelings.
先輩って M だったんですか？
手作りカレーなら毎日でも食べたいよ。先輩って口説き方昭和ですよね。突き放さないと。今すぐ。
I hear the sunspot. With hearing problems, Sugihara Kohai Nakazawa Motoki has pretty much had no luck making friends and integrating into his college community. One day, he accidentally meets a talkative, friendly schoolmate with a forever hungry stomach, Sagawa Taichi Kobayashi Torinosuke. Unlike others, Taichi doesn't ostracize or pity Kohai because of his hearing disability. It also helps that Taichi speaks so expressively that Kohai can understand him more easily than others, so they strike a deal. In exchange for sharing his homemade lunchboxes with him, Taichi will become a note-taker for Kohai. The two connect in unexpected ways, and Kohai begins to break out of his shell thanks to Taichi. Why it's worth the watch. I Hear the Sunspot is a heartwarming story without anything super stressful or complicated in the plot. It's a slower-paced story about accepting others, growth, and gentle love. It's also an important look at how disabilities like hearing loss can affect the way a person lives and sees the world. This one truly feels like a much-needed hug after a long day.
俺が大学辞めるって言ったらどうする？なんであの時気づかなかったんだ。
China. Meet You at the Blossom. Last but certainly not least is Meet You at the Blossom. Set in ancient China, the carefree Jin Hao Bao Wang Yun Kai, the heir to the wealthiest family in Jiangnan, is a ladies' man who falls in love at first sight with who he thinks is the most beautiful, crime-fighting woman he's ever seen. This elegant lady turns out to be a cold-hearted dude named Huai and Leslie Lee. Hiding an ulterior motive, Huai En plays along with Hao Bao's crush. With a conspiracy and lies plotting behind the scenes, the two fall into a deep, complicated love full of betrayal, epic fights, and arduous journeys. Why it's worth watching, Meet You at the Blossom is so special. It's considered the first ever Chinese wuxia drama that is openly BL. Besides that, amazing quality, the setting, costumes, and iconic espionage and drama associated with the wuxia genre all come together to make this a stellar show. Huayan stands out as an anti-hero who does many questionable, red flag things, but you still can't help but root for him when you see his undying devotion and love for Hao Bao.
你做什么了，我都能原谅你。媳妇儿，如果能借他之手，
从今天开始，我只喜欢怀恩一人。
少主，金帮主已经知道你们的身份，正在召集人马，命所有。
And that's a wrap. What BLS did you enjoy watching in 2024, and what are you looking forward to in the new year? Let me know in the comments below.